Hey guys, I just wanted to take a minute today to talk a little bit about my recovery and some of the progress I've made, some of the experiences I've had. If you want to make sure that you like and subscribe down at the bottom, and then put in any comments or questions that you have. So first thing I would say for me is I've been in recovery for over 3 years now, and there's definitely been some ups and downs. But it's been a really it's been a really good experience. I've definitely had some times that have been very uncomfortable, and definitely some difficult times. But the biggest thing I could say with my recovery that I really underestimated was time in itself. A lot of times I think that people really want a quick fix, and that's not really how it works. It took years to put yourself in the position that you are through repetition, habits, so on and so forth, and it's going to take time to undo it. And I would say for me, like when I was at my worst, and I've mentioned this in a few videos, but I was stuck for probably almost 2 years. And the first reason I ended up getting stuck is I had 3 hernias all at the same time. It was very painful. It was really painful. I ended up getting surgery to get 2 of them removed. Afterwards, there was another one that one of the doctors didn't say anything about it, and it was pretty interesting experience. So I always had GERD or stomach acid coming up all the time. Then a lot of intense pain in my stomach and in my chest. My stomach was actually in my chest, and I ended up having this swallowing sensation. So I started focusing on my breathing 24/7 because of the pain. And then after the surgery, because my stomach was in my chest, my throat was hurting all the time. So because it was all the stomach acid, so I was having a lot of pain. So I started focusing on my swallowing 24 hours, swallowing and saliva production. That's kind of what happened. And I tried different types of counseling. I saw I don't know, like E, E, ERT or something. I don't know. Sorry, ERT. I saw a hypnotist. I saw a cognitive behavioral therapist. I saw a regular doctor that prescribed me ketamine. I was taking ketamine probably about 10 times a day. I tried all kinds of vitamins, medicines. I was drinking probably every single day, almost every chance I could get, just to get rid of the sensations, because I couldn't make them stop, and I didn't really understand what was going on. And I was compulsively stuck for a really long time. And I remember, I would Google ways to get better all the time. And I was kind of an Instagram person, and one day I just decided to type in on Instagram. I was like, OCD, and first thing that come up was OCD recovery. It was Rob's page, believe it or not. So I followed it, and I was like, and I saw a couple posts, and I remember one of the posts that said, "You are not broken," and I remember telling myself all the time that I was broken, that there was something wrong with me. I felt like that I was different, and when I read that, I was just like, it resonated, so I started reading through the posts, and I ended up messaging him, and I was like, "Hey, thank you for, what you're doing for, people that have this issue." And at the time, I was never really like fully diagnosed. I had one or two, I guess, psychiatrists or whatever say that I was, but I still wasn't like convinced, obviously, because I thought it was something else. And so I messaged, Rob, and he messages back. He's like, "Hey, do you have OCD?" And I was like, "I think so." And I told him what was going on with me, and he was just like, "I can help you." So I decided, I was like, well, what the hell? I've spent $10,000, maybe more, maybe $20,000 on treatments and surgery, or not surgery, treatments, medications, different types of therapy, EMDR, that's the one. And nothing helped. Nothing helped. if anything, a lot of it just made it worse because I was always compulsively trying to get better. And so I did a session with him, and we related a lot. When he talked to me, it's like I kind of just, it was almost in my head about it, and very, very similar situations with some of the stuff that actually happened to us. And it was, for the first time I felt like, someone kind of understood me. I got some book references, and the first one was how to stubbornly refuse to make yourself miserable about anything. And I ended up reading that book, and within and at the time when I first got to talking to Rob, I literally was barely getting up and working every day. I previously had a job where I had over 100 employees, and I literally left because I was scared. I was just trying to get better, and I could barely function. And at the time, I was dating a girl. It really caused a lot of issues with our relationship, and honestly, it's crazy thinking about it. Like, I was literally laying in bed most of the time when I was home, or just trying to watch TV or messing around on my phone, trying to find ways to not be so focused on it all the time. And it was just, man, it's crazy even thinking about it. And I could barely function. I really thought I was fighting for dear life every day. All I wanted to do was kill myself. All I could think about was killing myself. I was like, man, I can't live anymore. I can't deal with this. And at the time, I was constantly trying to focus on my breathing because I was afraid I was going to have a panic attack, because when I would have a panic attack, it was like having a seizure almost. So I remember Rob giving me some advice. He said, you need to start going to the gym, not because, the gym is something you need to do because it helps with anxiety, but it's a good habit, and you need to go make yourself uncomfortable, do some running or something for the breathing, make yourself breathe hard, breathe heavy. And when you think you're going to have a panic attack, you need to tell yourself, like, all right, I'm going to have a panic attack, and just put yourself in the most vulnerable situation possible. So I did. And within 30 days, I was not afraid of having a panic attack anymore. And I've probably had 10, 15 times since that month where I've had a situation where I thought I was going to have a panic attack. And I just was like, cool, I'm going to have a panic attack. And I would sit down and I would wait, and I'd be like, let's have a panic attack, And I didn't know it at the time, but that was probably the most valuable information I had got for my recovery. And I kind of forgot it after that, that was, there. And I ended up, having no anxiety for like a month almost. It was like, what the heck? Like, it was crazy. And then it came back, of course, and it was really bad. And I had a lot of ups and downs for probably about a year and a half. And then I ended up reading, because it was really difficult for me to read the books because my anxiety was so high. It was like, just reading was like, just like so difficult because my mind was going so crazy so much. And I read, having a brain fart right now. I read The Myth of SelfEsteem by Albert Ellis, and I read just chapter 4. And at the time, I was having a lot of issues with my girlfriend, and I wanted to break up with her, honestly, not because of OCD, just because, different story. But I just wanted to break up with her. And at the time, I decided I was going to stay home and I wasn't going to go out, to go visit her family during Christmas. So I read that book. I read the 4th chapter. And when there was a part in there, there will always be hard times in life acceptance, right? Life acceptance. And that's when I really, it's funny, but when it really clicked, that there will always be hard times in life, and when I first started to really grasp the concept of acceptance, and within, I ended up moving, breaking up with her, starting a business, and I lived by myself, so I put myself in a super vulnerable state because I was afraid to be by myself. And I just worked a lot. I worked out 6 days a week, got up, did my thing, cleaned my house, and just focused on living and just bringing it for the ride, But I didn't know that that's what I was doing. I was just doing my thing, And one day I was just cleaning my house, and all of a sudden, it's gone. Zero anxiety. It was like it was just gone. I had a few months later, I had like a month where it happened for a little bit, and then like a week or two, and I had some ups and downs here and there, but for the most part, for like 2 years almost, I had like zero anxiety, almost none at all. It was really crazy, and I didn't understand really how I got to that point, right? And I was just kind of stumbled into recovery, and just to put perspective on this, I was barely functioning, and then within a year and a half, all of a sudden I had a big epiphany. Something happened, and at that point, within a few months, I was anxiety free pretty much for almost 2 years after that. But I had no idea how I got there, right? Not 2 years, sorry, that's not right. Maybe a year and a half, right? And then I had, my businesses, that I was running. I started having some issues with it. I had a lot of life stresses that happened, some health stuff that happened, kind of all at the same time. And when it did, I really, I had probably a 6 or 7 month period of just nonstop crazy anxiety, and it was different. It wasn't the normal that I experienced. My neck was tightening all the time. It felt like someone was pulling me backwards. I would feel like I was going to vomit nonstop for weeks. I would have like bolts of energy that I would feel like I was going to just shoot into the air and explode. Like, it was crazy. And I think about it now, like it was then, now I'm just like, whatever. But it was a really interesting experience, and my theme was constantly changing. It went from during this time I experienced POCD. I experienced a little bit of ROCD in a way. I also dealt with my sensory motor, and then I had a really intense body sensations. What felt like they were going to be panic attacks, but never were panic attacks, just lots of really amped up anxiety, and, all kinds of body sensations and pains, headaches. My eyes would hurt, my ears would hurt, my stomach, diarrhea. And, this time, I couldn't get around it like I did the last time. I couldn't just bring it for the ride, and I couldn't I couldn't just push myself to be uncomfortable. It only got so far, and then what happened is I had to educate myself. So I had already read all the books except for one, It Lasts a Life by Paul David. I ended up reading that book, and so once I really started educating myself in the disorder is when I started to understand what was happening. So when things were occurring, I didn't freak out, I didn't start, I didn't put myself in a situation where I was, felt like I was immobilized because I had gained the tools. So I had read all the books again. I really learned what it was to, Paul David's book, It Lasts Life, amazing book. That book in itself, if I would have just read that book and really grasped that principle, because that was the principle that I first learned when I worked with Rob. The first month was bring it for the ride, but I didn't know that's what it was, but really understanding the principle, not just doing it. And, and that's that your body has this way to heal itself and work through things, right? And when you just let your body do that, it starts to unwind and let itself go. But also with OCD, you can't necessarily always just do that, right? Because the fear is the thing that you have to get under, right? But that one principle gave me my life back. As soon as because I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm uncomfortable. It doesn't matter if I'm anxious. It doesn't matter if my OCD is going crazy. I still can do everything I want to do every single day and just bring it for the ride. That principle alone was probably, in my opinion, one of the most important principles I got, okay? Then when I really started educating myself and understanding the compulsions and the rumination and the mental compulsions, and understanding how OCD has the ability to morph and change and also make you doubt anything and everything. Even if you understand OCD and know all of the answers to everything, or know a lot about the disorder, it still has the ability to try to convince you that you have no idea what is going on. And, that's something that I'm working on right now where, I'll have these little things that will come up where fear is still a thing. And I know that it's a thing occasionally because I'll have mental compulsions, right? And the small amount of mental compulsions in the short time period that's happening, I'm kind of able to see that that's what's going on, right? And so it's really interesting to see the progression of my recovery, because now I'm at a point where, if I would have had any kind of uncomfortable issue or episode or spike or whatever, in the past, it could be something that would be super detrimental, and now it's at a point where it barely even it makes me uncomfortable, or it barely catches me, and it's a pretty amazing feeling, and it's that through this last part of my recovery, I guess you could say, I really had to understand and learn about OCD and learn how to really look at the fears and understand them and break them down and know when it's still just the fear or desensitization. And through this progression, I was and I guess issue that I had, I was able to really gain the knowledge that I needed to really recover. I know right now that whatever OCD throws at me, I will get up every day and do whatever I want, even if I am uncomfortable. And going from where I was 3 years ago to where I am a little over over 3 years ago till now, it's really crazy, and like in a good way, obviously. And the biggest thing that I can say for people who are watching this video, when it comes to recovery, it is 100% possible. And I will tell you, the things that stopped me from recovering quicker was, one, I didn't take it seriously. I didn't read all the books. I just got to the point where I was feeling good and then I stopped, or I still did stuff that I shouldn't have done. Reassurance, compulsions, drinking too much. We're human, right? We're fallible. We're gonna make mistakes, and it's part of the process, and that's where we can decide to learn from it, or just keep being in the same position. And I would say one of the biggest changes for me too is when I was able to take full responsibility. When I told myself that I'm not gonna always have, like, I remember I was disputing and I told myself, well, what if Rob died and Nick died too? And it was just me. What would I do then? Freak out? No, I have the tools that I need, and the biggest thing is through this progression is you have to have a lot of compassion for yourself, and stop trying to make it go away, and educate yourself. And it's going to take time, but it's worth it. And For me, I was in a very difficult time in my life where I could barely function, to where now I'm almost back in the same position I was before, with a really good job, with me getting my life back, and um, really being rational, a lot more rational. I'm still irrational sometimes, for sure, but it's been an amazing experience, and it's been a journey, and I'm grateful for every second of it. And I will tell you that it is 100% possible. So, anyways, well, guys, I appreciate your time, and I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you.